What's up, folks? Happy Hump Day, as it is, I believe. February 26th, 2025. And not that we didn't expect it, but it's just one shit show after another from Trump, right? So he had President Musk had his first cabinet meeting. Today / look at me presser. I already don't have any words. Screw this stream. I'm out. There's a lot of crazy shit, that would be might be semi hilarious, humorous. But the stuff with Trump accusing Ukraine of, bombing and killing Russian children, is tough. It's tough. But yeah, he's just off the wall, and it was something else to sit and watch. All these people around him at this table, it was really just unlike anything I've ever seen. And I'm sure maybe you folks, some of you have by now already seen it or watched clips of it. But I don't know what else to do but show what a complete maniac he is. It's just bonkers from one end to the other. And the things that his cabinet secretaries even said was pretty crazy. So he made all kinds of crazy statements, as he always does, right? And I don't know what else to do besides continue to or try to help with fucking just showing. I mean, I'm not some tech wizard. That's for damn sure. I'm not sitting here making AI videos of Trump saying stuff that he isn't actually saying. So I think it's I don't know what else to do, but I'm sure, maybe, I hope I'll reach one person that someone else or no one else was able to. And because it gets really serious at some point, and we're at that point where it's extremely serious. Making incredible claims of finding fraud and gutting national institutions, firing people for no reason. Anyways, we're going to get into it in a minute. Have some of the video, some of the press or cabinet meeting that they had today, and it, like I said, it was more or less a press conference. They made statement, or Trump rambled for a while, and then, of course, some reporters were able to ask questions, but he just it blows my mind how completely clueless he is when asked some of the most basic questions about things he should know damn well. It's like with his executive orders, he doesn't. He has to ask each time. Now what is this one? And they'll explain it to him, and he'll have this glazed look come over his eyes, right? All right, so let's listen to what went on at the Trump's first cabinet meeting with Elon Musk. I don't know, it was featuring. He didn't. I don't think he had a chair. He was standing, I believe. Oh, I can't remember. We'll see.
We've had tremendous success. We've been given a lot of credit for having a very successful first month, and we want to make that many months and years, actually. But we're going to have many good months, and we're going to have many good years, I hope, and we're going to solve a lot of problems. We're doing very well with Russia, Ukraine. President Zelensky is going to be coming on Friday. That's now confirmed, and we're going to be signing an agreement, which will be a very big agreement. And I want to thank Howard and Scott for the job you guys did in putting it together. You really did an amazing job. And that'll be on rare earth and other things. And as you know, we're in for probably $350 billion. Europe is in for $100 billion. And that's a big difference. So we're in for probably 3 times as much, and yet it's very important to everybody, but Europe's very close. We have a big ocean separating us, so it's very important for Europe, and they hopefully will.
So, and I have it right here. January 20th, 2025 to date this is the U.S. Department of State. Again, January 20th, 2025, so whatever, month and a half ago. We have provided $65.9 billion in the military assistance since Russia launched its premeditated, unprovoked, and brutal full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Let me repeat that. Trump just said that the U.S. has spent $350 billion, in aid to Ukraine, whatever. And here, the State Department, as of January 20th, 2025, to date, we have provided $65.9 billion in military assistance since Russia launched its premeditated, unprovoked, and brutal full-scale invasion of Ukraine. And I did not look up what the European Union has spent. Now, this is from the Council on Foreign Relations, and this has something about $106 billion worth of aid. But it's not $350 billion. And I believe the last time I did look up what the EU has spent, it was around $175 billion. They have actually had outspent us at that, or whatever. It's not a contest. Excuse me. It's not a contest about who, we should be able to give should we be able to give more than Europe? If we're able to, great. I don't know if we're able to give more than Europe. That's a lot of countries, but obviously, and it's just his constant lies and just bashing everything about everyone that isn't right up his ass, whether you're American or Republican, someone from another country that's used to be an ally until he came into office.
Step up and do maybe more than they're doing, and maybe a lot more. The previous administration put us in a very bad position, but we've been able to make a deal where we're going to get our money back, and we're going to get a lot of money in the future, and I think that's appropriate because we have taxpayers that are shouldn't be footing the bill.
We're not getting. There have been some loans, I do believe, that have been made, but it's not meaning that Ukraine has committed to paying some of the aid back. I don't know what that is, but probably less than half, which I'm fine with. Good.
And they shouldn't be footing the bill at more than the Europeans are paying. So it's all been worked out. We're happy about it, and I think that very importantly, we're going to be able to make a deal. Most importantly, by far, we're going to make a deal with Russia and Ukraine to stop killing people. They'll stop killing young Russian soldiers and young Ukrainian soldiers and other people in addition in the towns and cities. And we will.
Well, the young Russian soldiers wouldn't be getting killed if they weren't inside Ukraine killing young Ukrainian soldiers. How is anybody putting up with this? If you happen to be just what you might call yourself a moderate Republican, is there anything about what he's saying okay? Anything at all? I know his absolutely bonkers cult followers have no problem with what he's saying because they think somehow not helping an ally that has been devastatingly attacked, they think that that's going to make our life better. They think somehow they're going to get... I swear to God, these people.
Consider that a very important thing and a big accomplishment because it was going nowhere until this administration came in. They hadn't spoken to President Putin in 2 years, and so we'll keep you advised. Before we begin the cabinet, I'd like to have Scott and a couple of people say a few things, but most importantly, where are you?
Right here,
This is a gentleman who's going places, the head of HUD, and he's going to say, you all know him?
every perspective.
Illegal border crossing. It's good.
All right, I had to skip through the prayer.
That was a very good job you did. You've done that before, haven't you? So Scott Turner's a terrific young guy. He's heading up HUD, and he's going to make us all very proud, right?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Great job. In just over 1 month, illegal border crossings have plummeted by numbers that nobody's actually ever seen before. It's much more than 100%. And we've unleashed American energy at levels that will soon be reported but we think we're going to get it going very quickly. We have incredible people on the energy front. I think we have really great people on every front. I'll let you know if they're not good, but I think they really are. And we're fighting every day to get the prices down. The inflation is stopping slowly, but part of the reason it's stopping is because of high interest rates and other problems that we inherited. But we have to get the prices down, not the inflation down, the prices of eggs and various other things. Eggs are a disaster. The Secretary of Agriculture is going to be showing you a chart that's actually mind-boggling what's happened.
You know what's mind-boggling? Is when you say you have to get inflation down, and then 5 seconds later you say you don't have to worry about getting inflation down. It's the prices you have to get down. And I get it. We get it, right? I mean, I think that's why the Trumpers voted for him, isn't it? Prices are going to come down, and they're going to come down fast. I'm going to lower prices on groceries on day one. Over and over and over and over, he said it. And look, I knew it was bullshit.
Low they were with us and how high they are now. But I think we can do something about it, Madam Secretary, and I think you're going to do a fantastic job in that position. One of the most important initiatives is DOGE, and we have cut billions and billions and billions of dollars. We're looking to get it maybe to $1 trillion. If we can do that, we're going to start getting to be at a point where we can think in terms of balancing budgets, believe it or not, something you haven't heard in many, many years.
There hasn't been billions and billions of dollars found, or maybe that's been claimed, right? But yeah, I don't believe there has been any specific. Here we have $5.5 million of IT spending. That was 3 hours ago. $3 million. This includes canceling a $3 million contract for organizational cultural training to instruct VA leadership on what culture and values they should have. I should have looked at this. This is insane. So there never will be any evidence whatsoever unless you count Elon Musk standing up with his black baseball cap on, bouncing around like a fucking crackhead, stating that there's been billions of dollars worth. I mean, we know Trump is going to just spew bullshit. $1 trillion, billions and billions. It's just is all they can point to is the people the innocent people that they fired. That's what they're counting as this waste and fraud that they found. And it doesn't add up to nowhere near billions and billions of dollars, let alone $1 trillion.
Decades, actually. And it's a big, whether it's this year or next year, I think we'll be very close to balancing budgets. And the DOGE is very important. And Elon is here to give you a summary of what's happening, some of the things they found, some of the horrible things they found, some of the theft and fraud, and we call it waste and abuse, but a lot of fraud, and probably some fraud that we're not going to be able to prove is fraud, but when you hear the names and the places where this money...
So they found a lot of fraud, and a lot of fraud that they're probably not going to be able to prove is fraud. Of course. You know, just say shit and then make excuses, and the cult is like, oh, yeah, I understand. I understand you were lying to us. And Trump will say, here's a couple $100. And, you know, we'll keep doing our best. And look, hey, I gave my buddies, you know, a $4 trillion tax cut your children have to pay for, but
He's going, it's a disgrace. But we've requested that a lot of people, we want to make sure that the people are working. So letters were sent out, and I think everyone at this table is very much behind it. And if they aren't, I'd want them to speak up, but they're very much behind it. Letters were sent out to people just to find out if the people exist. Do they work? Who do they work for? Where are they? You know, where have they been working? Have they been working for other companies or other entities at all, or being paid by the government? So they have two.
so if we send out an email or a call or a letter to federal employees, Musk and his 19-year-olds, fucking camp, what the fuck, send out letters to federal employees asking them, what's up? Just, you know, saying hi. New administration coming in, and we're just wondering what you've been up to. And if you're like spying for any other countries, if you could, I mean, maybe let us know. All right, shoot me an email back.
Jobs, but they're supposed to have one. And the letter asks some simple questions like, what have you done lately? And if they can answer that, because I can tell you everything I've done for the last...
That's what I'd fucking send them. That's the email I'd send them back. What have I done lately? I fucking rubbed one out 3 times yesterday. Twice the day before. Thinking about doing it again in a minute right after I get done sending this email. Jesus.
Long period of time, a lot more than a week. And in many cases, we haven't gotten responses. Usually that means that maybe that person doesn't exist, or that person doesn't want to say they're working for another company while being paid by the United States government.
What does that even mean? So, like, if people aren't responding to some wacky email by Musk, who, by the way, doesn't have any official authority according to Trump, what do they want him to, you know, how is if they don't write back, they don't exist, or they don't or they're working for some other company. He gets on to some fucking crazy ass shit, and it's like you can tell, like, he is like, just, you know, what are all these employees doing that I think aren't doing anything because I'm a complete fucking moron, completely clueless to how big the government is. And nobody's denying that, but you got to think about how big America is and what it takes to run a place like this. Does that mean we couldn't use cuts someplace? Sure. Do you just go in like this? Of course not. Of course not. It's insane. And so now he thinks that if for some reason somebody's job may maybe be able to be eliminated, you know, for good reasons, fine, you know, fiscal reasons, that they could be working for some other company or some other country. Holy shit.
So there's a lot of interesting things. It's very unique, but we have a very unique situation because we have a lot of people that were scamming our country. We have a lot of dishonest people. We have a lot of people that took advantage of a lot of different situations, and we're not going to let that happen. So I'm going to ask if it's possible to have Elon get up first.
How are they scamming our country? Who was scamming our country and how? American citizens scamming our country by going to work and being a civil servant every day. Is that it? And there was a lot of ways they were doing it, but I'm not going to name any of them at this time.
And talk about Doge because it seems to be of great interest to everyone. I will say that there is a large group of people in this country that have such admiration for what we're doing. I got elected with a tremendous vote, winning every swing state, winning the popular vote, winning the counties by thousands of counties. I think it was 2,800 to 500. 2,800 counties to 500 counties. Think of that. And so we have a mandate to do this, and this is part of the reason I got elected. I got elected based on taxes and based on many things, the border, but also based on balancing budgets and getting our country back into shape, and this is a big part of it. So Elon, if you could get up and explain where...
I know. I didn't even... There's so much to talk about, right, with this, especially this press conference is absolutely disgusting and bonkers at a whole new level. I think. You guys know that I've watched way too much of his fucking bullshit, you know? This was really bad all the way through, and it's just crazy. Like, I don't even know where it was. The numbers were less than 10,000 people deported so far since he's, you know. And I'm not sitting here saying, oh yeah, it's a bunch of shit that he hasn't gotten more folks deported, you know. Apparently a lot of the folks that had been deported were pretty bad folks. Not, I don't know obviously all 10,000 plus cases, but it's going to have, you know, his numbers were going to have to be so much more than that to get anything close to what he told his cult. I don't know.
Here you are, how you're doing, and how much we're cutting, and it's an honor to have you. He's been a tremendously successful guy. He's really working so hard, and he's got businesses to run. And in many ways, they say, "How do you do this?" And you know, he's sacrificing a lot and getting a lot of praise, I'll tell you. But he's also getting hit, and we would expect that, and that's the way it works. So I'd like to have Elon Musk please say a few words.
Well,
Thank you, Elon.
Thank you, Mr. President. I actually just call myself a humble tech support here because this is actually, as crazy as it sounds, that is almost a literal description of the work that the Doge team is doing, is helping fix the government computer systems. Many of these systems are extremely old. They don't communicate. There are a lot of mistakes in the systems. The software doesn't work. So we are actually tech support. It's ironic, but it's true. The overall goal here with the Doge team is to help address the enormous deficit. We simply cannot sustain as a country $2 trillion deficits. The interest rate.
Why all of a sudden is it important that Elon Musk tells us that we can't sustain a deficit, these huge deficits? So how important is the, I don't know what it is, you guys. Now, it's crazy amount, right? $5-8 billion worth of government contracts. I'm probably way off. It's probably, I think Patriot Pete had posted something, a number quite larger than that. I mean, are these essential to our government functioning? Trump's, gutted a bunch of positions at the FAA, and now I do believe that a representative I heard speaking on the floor today, or in a committee meeting, hearing, saying that Trump or Musk has basically awarded himself an the FAA communications contract now. Not surprised.
Just the interest on the national debt now exceeds the Defense Department spending. We spend a lot on the Defense Department, but we're spending over $1 trillion on interest. If this continues, the country will become de facto bankrupt. It's not an optional thing, it is an essential thing. That's the reason I'm here. And taking a lot of flack, and getting a lot of death threats, by the way. I'm gonna like stack them up, you know. But if we don't do this, America will go bankrupt. That's why it has to be done. And I'm confident.
We have to really, like, again, the number of, you know, it's far more devastating, the number of jobs that and people in these positions. They were fired for no good reason. And it gets worse, of course. I mean, folks that have just dedicated their life to serve it, and not that they aren't paid. They deserve to be paid everything they are, in my eyes, with the jobs that some of these folks are doing. And again, that doesn't mean there isn't places that the belt can't be tightened, not enough that would make any sort of difference, because all the chaos that they're creating isn't going to make any big difference on when it comes to our deficit. It just isn't. But they're going to ruin a lot of lives a lot of good people's lives in the process. This rich bastard.
At this point, knock on wood, you know, knock on my wooden head. There's got a lot of wood up there. That we.
What a fucking clown show. The dude's stoned.
Can actually find $1 trillion in savings. That would be roughly 15% of the $7 trillion budget. And obviously that can only be done with the support of everyone in this room. And I'd like to thank everyone for your support. Thank you very much. This can only be done with your support. So it's really...
None of those people have to support you. I'll bet you half of them don't support what you're doing. But they're lost. They're lost by this huge shining gem of power and money, I guess, and prestige.
DOGE is a support function for the president and for the agencies and departments to help achieve those savings and to effectively find 15% in reduction in fraud and waste. And we bring the
15% overall. He's going to find 15% waste and fraud overall in our government.
So people say, like, well, is this real? Just go to doge.gov. We line item by line item, we specify each item. So, and I should say.
Yeah, I was just there. It's $5 million here, $3 million there, a couple $1 million there, a whole bunch of people's lives here, a whole bunch of people's lives there.
We will make mistakes. We won't be perfect, but when we make a mistake, we'll fix it very quickly. So, for example, with USAID, one of the things we accidentally canceled very briefly was Ebola.
Oops. Oopsie. Canceled funding for Ebola research and, mitigation. And then they reinstated it, right? I bet you RFK Jr.'s all pissed off. BJ is probably bent that they're going to go ahead and continue research on Ebola, because Ebola's... Is it bad is it wrong for me to do that? Do a BJ impersonation? And not one of these, but, we shouldn't be researching anything that can prevent child illnesses or anyone else from dying or pandemics.
Ebola prevention. I think we all want Ebola prevention.
F these people.
So we restored the Ebola prevention immediately, and there was no interruption. But we do need to move quickly if we're to achieve a $1 trillion deficit reduction in
mind you, he said $1 trillion deficit reduction a minute ago when he started this fucking whatever the fuck it is. It was $2 trillion. They're great. I mean, it's one thing to say something one day, I guess, maybe, and the next time you get on stage or in front of the cameras, you change your mind or whatever. You know, you slip. But seriously, they're terrible.
Financial year 2026. It requires saving $4 billion per day, every day, from now through the end of September. But we can do it.
$4 billion a day, every day from now till the end of September. But they haven't gotten nowhere near that yet. At least that they're ever going to show. But they're going to, and it doesn't matter. Is all they have to do is keep going. Trump just has to keep doing what he loves to do, he proved that he loved to do in after, you know, during his first administration, right? Or his first term. He just wants to get in front of the camera and tell people, look, I'm the president, and so you know, I'm going to do things, and we'll figure that out, and you know, a fucking hand squeeze.
And we will do it. Thank you.
Would you have any questions of Elon while we're on the subject of those? Because we'll finish off with that. And if you would have any questions, please ask. You could ask me or Elon. Go ahead, please.
Thank you.
I didn't have a chance to look it up. I could have done much more preparing for this as far as numbers go. Didn't Elon almost go broke? Is he not just a fucking, basically a big time gambler, right? Like, he just pushed the limits at one point, wasn't it, with Tesla, with his own personal income or some crazy shit. I don't want to make any assumptions or accusations that aren't true. I'm just throwing that out there that I you know, and my point is, I guess, that we don't have, the Republicans don't have, the GOP doesn't have better folks to sniff out waste and who are better at running an efficient government. I mean, the government isn't a business, right? And that's how they're looking at it. And yeah.
President, thank you, Mr. Musk. I just wanted to ask you, that President Trump put out a Truth Social today saying that everybody in the cabinet was happy with you. I just wondered if you had heard otherwise, and if you had heard anything about members of the cabinet who weren't happy with the way things were going, and if so, what are you doing to address those any dissatisfaction?
Elon, let the cabinet speak just for a second.
Yeah, exactly.
Is anybody unhappy with Elon? If you are, well, throw them out of here. Is anybody unhappy?
So if there's anyone that doesn't like Elon, any of you guys don't like Elon, and I'll kill you. That was my bit from Stripes, right? Settle down, Francis.
They have a lot of respect for Elon and that he's doing this, and some disagree a little bit, but I will tell you, for the most part, I think everyone's not only happy, they're thrilled. So go ahead, Elon.
No, I don't think anyone's thrilled. I mean, even if they're like, I don't give a shit what he's doing, it's because it doesn't affect them. I mean, and all those people around that table are, until they lip off or step out of line, they're golden, right? Until then. I seen Rick Wilson said there's more room under the bus than there is on the bus.
President Trump has put together, I think, the best cabinet ever. Literally. So,
right.
I do not give false praise.
The fuck you don't. You're full of fucking shit. If you think that's the best cabinet ever, then you're either a complete fucking moron, whacked out on drugs, or you're lying. Maybe all three.
This is an incredible group of people. I don't think that
Oh, that I agree. It's an incredible group of people, all right.
such a talented team has actually ever been assembled. I think it's literally the best cabinet that the country has ever had, and I think the company should be incredibly appreciative of the people in this room.
Go ahead, please. Yeah.
Mr. President, thank you. Mr. Musk, are there about half of the government employees so far appear to have responded to your request for what they've been doing over the past week? Is there a timeline in place for next moves for people being fired, and when can the American people expect to see results of that?
Yes. Well, to be clear, I think that email perhaps was misinterpreted as a performance review, but actually it was a pulse check review. Do you have a pulse? Do you have a pulse and 2 neurons? So if you have a pulse and 2 neurons, you can reply to an email.
There we go. Elon calling federal employees a pulse and 2 neurons. That's all that's what he thinks about federal employees. That's all it takes to do whatever jobs it is, I guess, that they're not happy about. Fucking disgusting, right?
This is, I think not a high bar, is what I'm saying. This is, should be, anyone could accomplish this. But what we are trying to get to the bottom of
Is that, it's fucking ridiculous. I can be a sarcastic motherfucker. Really? It's not a high bar to send back an email and say, hey, Elon, yeah, TV here. I'm still alive. Just, been busy with working for Russia or whoever.
is we think there are a number of people on the government payroll who are dead, which is probably why they can't respond.
There he said it. He believes there are a number of people on the federal payroll that are dead.
And some people who are not real people, like they're literally fictional individuals that are collecting paychecks. Dead. To be clear, I think that email perhaps was misinterpreted as a performance review, but actually it was a pulse check review. Do you have a pulse? Do you have a pulse and 2 neurons? So if you have a pulse and 2 neurons, you can reply to an email. This is, I think not a high bar, is what I'm saying. This is, should be, anyone could accomplish this. But what we are trying to get to the bottom of is we think there are a number of people on the government payroll who are dead, which is probably why they can't respond. And some people who are not real people, like they're literally fictional individuals that are collecting.
Who we think. I mean, why isn't it, why would they not be every day, if they want to have pressers, bullshit pressers, why not be transparent every day and say, this is the update. This is why we think there are dead people that are on the payroll. Where did the whole premonition come from? One of their story writers? Doesn't Steve Bannon write stories? Yeah, those two don't get along though, do they?
Collecting paychecks. Well, somebody's collecting paychecks on a fictional individual. So we're just literally trying to figure out, are these people real? Are they alive? And can they write an email?
Now he's trying to figure out if they are real or if they're alive. Because a minute ago he said, we think there are people that are dead collecting a paycheck or that aren't even real. There's just, so who's getting the paycheck, Elon, for these fake individuals? Where's it going? I mean, how hard can it be to track that down? Is it not being deposited into a bank account somewheres here in the U.S., a check sent to an address? That's how stupid Trumpers are. That's how stupid you motherfucking Trumpers are. A lot of you folks probably have bank accounts and maybe work and have to have a check deposited, directly, or you receive a paper one, which would probably be weird or odd at this day and age. What the fuck's he talking about? How hard? Why is it take 6 weeks to track down where a paycheck is being sent if you think that There's a paycheck being sent somewhere that shouldn't be. I mean, are you just going through the whole list of employees, federal employees, and saying, all right, we just need to check in and make sure you're real? Are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? What are you supposed to be doing?
Which I think is a reasonable expectation for the American public would have at least that expectation.
It's not reasonable. It's absolutely fucking bonkers. It's insanity.
Of someone in the public sector.
Mr. Musk, roughly a million employees.
It's not a high bar, guys. Come on.
Roughly a million employees have responded so far to this email. Does that mean that the remaining 1 million or so federal employees now risk being terminated? And is it your understanding and expectation?
Over 1 million federal employees have responded to the email, and over 1 million haven't, or around 1 million haven't. Who's reading the emails? Is there anybody out there that is good at math and could determine how many emails someone could read in an actual person, like one of Elon's 19-year-olds? 15 seconds, open up an email, read it, quick close it. That'd be pretty fast, wouldn't it?
When you post a directive on X, that the cabinet secretaries will follow that order, because several agencies have instructed employees that this is voluntary or not to respond.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it was like last week, the president encouraged me via Truth Social and also via phone call to be more aggressive. And I was like, okay, yes, sir, Mr. President, we will indeed do that. The president is the commander-in-chief. I do what the president asks. And I said, can we send out an email to everyone just saying, what did you get done last week? And the president said yes, so it did that.
Jesus.
We got a partial response. We're going to send another email. But our goal is not to be capricious or unfair. We want to give people every opportunity to send an email. And the email could simply be, what I'm working on is too sensitive or classified to describe.
That's fucking stupid. That's fucking stupid to ask over 2 million employees to send you some sort of fucking generic email in that way. Weather's pretty good over here, Elon. Everything's great, other than you're a fucking nut.
Like, literally just, that would be sufficient. I think this is just common sense.
And what
Oh my God, it's not common sense at all, right? There's nothing ordinary about their thinking whatsoever.
is your target number for how many workers, employees you're looking to cut total?
We wish to keep everyone who is doing a job that is essential and doing that job well.
Who decides whether it's essential or not? I would guess that anybody that was employed by the federal government, their job was determined to be needed at some point. And I don't pretend to know exactly how all that works, but quite possibly a lot of it's voted on or passed in legislation if departments need to be, and I also know that, of course, that the presidents can create departments, obviously. Who decides who is essential? We know, we know. Well, in this case, it's going to be Trump and Elon and anybody that has Trump's ear and says, you know what, we don't need any more government regulation, environment regulations in this area, right? Of course, we don't need any more environmental protection in this area. We don't need to protect or manage or maintain our national parks anymore because, what's going to happen if nobody's going to mess with them, right? That's what it comes down to. We don't need any IRS agents tracking down millionaires and billionaires like Bezos, who pays zero income taxes. Those are the people. That's waste and fraud.
But if the job is not essential, or they're not doing the job well, they obviously should not be on the public payroll.
Mr. Musk,
I'd like to add, wait a minute, wait. I'd like to add that those million people that haven't responded, though, Elon, they are on the bubble. You know, I wouldn't say that we're...
Now he's going to fire 1 million people that haven't responded to some fucking wacky-ass email asking what you been up to.
thrilled about it. You know, they haven't responded. Now, maybe they don't exist. Maybe we're paying people that don't exist. Don't forget, we just...
Who's getting the money, though? So you're writing a check for 1 million people that don't exist. Where's the check going? Who's cashing it? Well, you know.
got here. This group just got here.
I know it's ridiculous, and I know you're probably like, Jesus Christ, TV, what the fuck are you doing? It's such a fucking shit show. But this is the President of the United States and his cabinet. I mean, what else is there to do? Seriously, what else is there to do? This is just crazy.
But those people are on the bubble, as they say. You know, maybe they're going to be gone. Maybe they're not around. Maybe they have other jobs. Maybe they moved and they're not where they're supposed to be. A lot of things could have happened. I wouldn't say that Biden ran a very tight administration. They spent money like nobody's ever spent money before, wasted money. The Green New Scam, all of the different things they spent money on. And you've seen that. You've seen that with some of the things that I read in speeches. I read them and people can't believe when I read them. 20 million here, 30 million here for, you know, a little educational course on something.
Fucking damn education, you know. We already know he's ready to cut the hell out of that. Clearly, he didn't take advantage of anything that the United States had to offer as far as education goes.
Circumcision, right? Circumcision. $20 million to inform the people of such and such a country on other things and other things.
$20 million Joe Biden spent on informing other countries of certain things.
Other than that. So, yeah, those people are, right now we're trying to find out who those people are that haven't responded. Now, there'll be some agencies, like Marco has people within state that are right now doing very classified, very confidential work, and we understand that, and we've talked, and, you know, we're being a little more surgical. And Marco's doing a lot of things himself. And some of the secretaries are.
Marco's probably sitting there going, Jesus fucking Christ. Jesus fucking Christ. I've sold my soul.
We're going to be going to them. We're going to be talking about it today. We're going to ask them to do their own Doge. In other words, they'll look in their group and I spoke with Lee Zeldin, and he thinks he's going to be cutting 65% or so of the people from environmental. And we're going to speed up the process, too, at the same time. You had a lot of people that weren't doing their job. They were just obstructionists. And
of course, did I say it? Of course they're going to be cutting environmental regulations.
a lot of people that didn't exist, I guess, Lee, too. You found.
I mean, no offense to New Yorkers, but, you know, isn't that where Trump grew up? Why would he be worried about the environment?
A lot of empty spots. The people weren't there. They didn't exist. And I think education is going to be one of those. You go around Washington, you see all these buildings for the Department of Education. We want to move education back to the states where it belongs. Iowa should have education. Indiana should run their own education. You're going to see education go way up. Right now, we're ranked at the very bottom of the list, but we're at the top of the list in one thing: the cost per pupil. We spend more money.
So Trump thinks that not having a federal mandate on education K through 12, that that somehow that's gonna, across the states, right? That somehow that's gonna give the states the opportunity to improve their education system. And it's complete bullshit because he's talking about obviously cutting the funding. So it's not that, hey, we're going to let the states make all the decisions now. We're not going to oversee or have some, an across-the-board minimum requirement. We're not going to fund states at all. There's going to be no more federal funding or no more, federal tax dollars going to a states for education to spend. Maybe somehow we want to now. Each state wants to, as it currently is, right? And of course, there's all different numbers. And I think Putin and Pete had mentioned we rank, I don't know, between 15th, 13th, 11th in education. I've seen different numbers because I looked it up. It was actually during the campaign because Trump was going on about us being 40th in the world, and it's complete bullshit. And I think the high school level, right, like 9th through 12th, is we do rank up there pretty high. And then there's just all kinds of different variables anyways, right? When you look at other countries that do well, like Denmark and Finland, Sweden, the UK, but it's spending per student, right? It has a huge effect on that. So overall, we maybe we're not quite in the top 10, and I'm not saying, hey, that's great, but that's not terrible for crying outside. There's some, there's countries that take their education system serious, and if we don't, how do we expect to improve on that at all, And when you look at the top 10 states in education in the U.S., 8 or 9 of them are blue.
Per pupil than any other country in the world. And yet it's Denmark and Norway, Sweden, and I hate to say this, and we're going to get along very well with China, but it's a competitor. They're at the top of the list. They're among the top 10 usually, and they're a very big country, so we can't use that as an excuse, right? Because we're a very big country too, but we were ranked last time under Biden. We were ranked 40 out of 40. They do the 40 certain nations that they've done for a long time. It seems.
Seriously. Why the hell are Trumpers buying that shit? Come on, man. You're not fucking, you should, I know you don't give a fuck that Trump is full of shit. You want a king. The United States ranking last out of whatever survey they're doing, whatever surveys being done of the top 40 countries in education in America, in the world, we rank last. He's saying this shit because he wants to gut education. I'm not really sure why some of this stuff is, right? Like, there's so much going on. It's, is there, obviously, like, some of the things in Gaza is really disgusting. I don't know what the fuck Trump is so on about with I mean, I honestly feel like everything he's doing now, he is trying to figure out a way to make money off it, which is obviously illegal, right? Not that any of that matters anymore. But it's just crazy that he would want to do so. Like, how I just do not understand how gutting the education system is going to benefit him or his friends. I don't. I do not understand. I'd love someone to explain it to me, because there must be some really complex, dirty, rotten, filthy way that the elite, the extreme right elite, are going to benefit from people being out in the street. Because they're stupid. Because Trump cut our education. And he's going to be fucking dust. When all this shit settles, he's going to be dust. If we're able to ever come back and rectify this shit, which it'll need to be done in 2026 and in 2028, it's going to be painful for a while. Nothing after we just went through it, and, you know, America stood strong going through the pandemic, no thanks to Trump, and the crazy inflation. But, you know, the economy remained hot. There was pay, you know, the average pay was up. There's plenty of work. All that shit's changing, except for the prices aren't going down. There's going to be more wars. I mean, do you think, is there, you know, again, extreme right elite, how much money do they have invested in the military industrial complex? These people make a fortune when Trump starts invading countries for whatever reason. All right, you guys, it's been, I have to take a break a second. Just maybe to catch my breath, but I have to do a BRB. I really wanted to get to, I don't know how much, there's a lot of this left, unfortunately. I knew I wouldn't probably be able to get through it all, because I don't know how much longer I can sit and do this. But, you know, he literally says that we are going to take what is ours from Ukraine. And I don't want, I'll never be able to find, I should have probably time stamped that in case I ran long on this, because I knew I'd start running my mouth and pausing it. But who we got here anyway? Dis and Laura's in the house, and Casper, Nelson, and Jim. Jim, I hope your hip's all right. And Wes is here. All right. You guys hang tight. I'm going to take a quick break, and I will be back. All right. See you in a minute. All right, I am back. Yeah, so if anybody's interested, they can YouTube search that press conference if you really, really want to listen to it. Actually, the House Judiciary Committee was pretty good today. Miss Crockett asking Republicans if they could at least say that Ukraine didn't start the war, that Russia invaded Ukraine unprovoked, premeditated. And of course, no one's going to answer, just kind of coughing and some chuckling, sadly. Casper asks a good question. So if states are in charge, does that mean they won't have to teach evolutionary theory, just creationism in religious places? Well, you could certainly see, I mean, there's been a fight to have the Ten Commandments displayed in classrooms in red states. So, yeah, that's, I don't pretend to know what the exact curriculum is for, right, like the basic curriculum is for K through 12. I haven't had a kid in high school for a few years, or in school now for a few years, but Jim says irony is dead and Trump killed it. He was waxing poetic about he was waxing poetic about critically of folks being in the office from his golf cart. Yeah. It's the thing is, I guess, like maybe Wes is saying that even if a lot of these folks, their jobs, it's why would you not go in like when there's a new owner takes over a company, right? Like I just went through this in 2020. And they're going to bring in some of their own people, probably in some higher positions, right? You get what I'm saying? And it's not going to, I mean, why not at least handle it something like that? Like tell these people they have a couple weeks notice, a month's notice, whatever it is, and they're going to be, they need to prepare because they're going to be deciding if their job is essential any longer, as President Musk put it. I mean, the whole display was disgusting. It really got worse. Instead of accusing, just going in and blanket firing a whole shitload of people clearly in positions that Trump doesn't agree with, right? Which is bullshit. It's clear that if the president has this much power, it's too much power. Right? If we have to legislate federal positions and, legislate the protection of these employees, civil servants, then that's what we have to do. Hey, Bear, what's up, sister? Cheers to you. How is anything good coming out of deregulation? I mean, nothing's perfect, but I just cannot believe that, or nor have I seen large instances where, or many instances where there's, a mom and pop business is put out of business because of regulations. Yeah, that too, Abear. For sure. Abear says, what about what Trump's doing to the press? Yeah, he's, how can we have a president suing a major media corporation like CBS, who is, what's the word I'm looking for, you guys? Credentialed for $20 billion. How is that not intimidation? How is that not a conflict of interest? And then, whether it's just immoral or it's just, fucked up on principle, removing AP from again, even if it was CBS, but, or, one of these other networks. AP has been is the foundation for the White House press corps. Bear knows better than I do. Jim says, wait, are you suggesting the transaction be handled professionally? Trump is neither capable or interested. No. And I just wonder, like, what is what should the focus be for our representatives, right? And those in office that we're counting on to do everything they can to mitigate the damage that Trump's doing. Because he is not, he's on his second term. He has, I said it as soon as he won, he's a lame duck president, right? He has absolutely nothing to lose. And even if, he ends up back in criminal court at some point, which I think would be great. Look how old, he's going to live before he'll be buying the farm before anything happens, before any judgments are handed down. Yeah, Bear says AP literally has the grammatical style used as corporate standard across the board. Exactly, that's what I was trying to get at. Like, they have set the bar. Wes says he's testing the limits. Right. And I think at the end of the day, which will be a couple years down the road, right, at a minimum, that we'll get through it. A lot of shit will be overturned, or, things will be, the bullshit he's trying to do will be hung up in court for a long time anyways. And ultimately, he won't be able to get away with a lot of the nonsense he's doing, and lawsuits will be brought, but a lot of damage will be done by then, and not just like even folks that are fired, and maybe after, however long being, rehired or reinstated into their positions with back pay or whatever. It's still going to be a huge wound to have heal, because, but too, I guess, Wes, at the same time, like, I suppose no one ever thought that this would happen. I don't, in saying that, like, I guess we don't always think, as humans, we don't necessarily always think of the worst possible scenarios, right? Even if it is hot, it's like it seems so far-fetched that, or, you know, unlikely that, you know, you weigh risks, right? I guess. I don't know. I mean, it sucks, but there has to be a plus side to this. That the plus side for me, I think that we're seeing what we need to be aware of now. We're seeing what we need to fix. I mean, it's just craziness all over the place with the Supreme Court and what the president is able to do on his own with executive orders, and just the silence from the GOP. Jim says, I think a number of them fear for their lives. Trump didn't pardon Proud Boys because he likes them. Yeah. Well, and Jim, you said you need some. I asked you too how your hip was doing, brother. I don't know if you responded or not, but I hope you are doing all right. The Judiciary Committee today hearing was really good. I mean, Ms. Jalapal was, she brought that up, that they had to sit there while members of Proud Boys were allowed back into the chamber after being pardoned on their little fucking tour. You know, we have pardoned J6ers that are shooting cops, that are facing charges for child porn. Again, I guess it just goes back to what you said, that he doesn't care. He's not interested. And there's little holding him back with what he's able to do as a president. And the GOP isn't doing anything to slow him down at all. That's for sure. A Bear says, Trump is going to learn a lesson us late 80s stoners learned from Ren and Stimpy. Don't whiz on the electric fence. Right? Can you even reach it? Yeah, I mean, these same people, like, Officer Fanone, these folks are pardoned. And he's already has dealt with death threats since the get-go, after taking a beating, having a heart attack, having his family threatened, nonstop for 4 years. And then Trump just go ahead and amplifies it. Yeah, Casper, that dude was arrested again recently for assaulting a streamer or somebody that was counter-protesting or protesting Musk, or protesting those idiot sticks being back at Congress or back on Capitol Hill. A Bear says she's happy to be out of D.C., but her heart breaks for her friends that are still there. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, like, with A Bear with my kid. He had to switch companies. He's still subcontracting for the government, but he he switched company, and they just sent him back out to Colorado. So I don't know how, like, I can't believe a lot of like people in his position aren't getting axed too. Maybe that's coming. Wes says, I don't think people want this, but they voted for the guy. I don't think they know what they wanted. I mean, if you ask a Trumper what they wanted, they would probably tell you, well, we wanted lower grocery price. Look, maybe their wants are legitimate, right? Like they want a better economy, lower grocery prices, however they feel about immigration. But you can fucking want in one hand and shit in the other and see what one fills up faster. And if you vote for Trump, the hand holding shit is going to fill up faster, right? That's the only hand that's going to get anything in it. They just hear it's crazy. Just like, yeah, I'll do this for it. Oh, well, great. That's it. That's our guy. He said he'd fix it. So do we care how he's going to fix it? No. He just said he was going to do some shit, put some tariffs on some people and invade some countries. I mean, the douchebag was going on again in this press conference that I was just running about Canada still becoming a 51st state. I'm not joking. How are those people sitting next to him? If they all just got up and said, you're a fucking quack, what would he do? How do they do it, you guys? Trump isn't very well known for being a comedian as far as I know. I mean, the fucking... the arrogance and ego it's insane. Like, he's just so, like, man, this is a big job being the president, and, then goes on about how Canada should become the 51st state. And dead seriously. Nobody around him was giggling. Well, not out loud. Jim says he's going home tomorrow. Dude, you're still in the hospital? Holy shit. I didn't catch that part. No surgery, 6 to 8 weeks, no weight bearing. On the plus side, my March Madness bracket should rock. Well, there you go, basketball. Yeah, that's a tough one, right? Hip fracture, not only painful, but immobilizes you. Casper says the UK Prime Minister is meeting him tomorrow. That should be something, like his meeting with Macron. Jeez. There's so much to that fucking presser. Jim says Canada's not going to be the 51st state. I'll march my walker to see if I have to. Yeah, if you become the 51st state, then where will I run to? Hey Bear says, I can't believe we have an R party that had no backbone to stand up to Trump. Electing an idiot is better than electing a black man. What sense does that make? Yeah, or black woman. Or woman, period. It's... Bear, I don't want to be hysterical. I'm serious, you guys. at what point do we decide that this is a really serious, severe shift in history and that it's dire? What has to happen next before we decide that? Like, because I don't want to be hysterical, but it's like this is clearly never happened in our history before. Have we had more intense times? Sure. Not for a long, long time. I mean, it's the whole mindset, right? Like, it's not like just, with Nixon where he was found out and finally couldn't keep up the fucking charade anymore. That would have been Trump after his first term, right? Just kind of faded away or whatever. But no, I mean, we, right, elected him. And I know you and I didn't vote for him. But we're part of this country. It's like, what are we missing about ourselves, about our neighbors, about our fellow Americans? Like alternate universes. Casper says European news is saying that post-World War II alliances are dead. Yeah, Casper, maybe you heard me say the other night that it's I don't know how to put this without sounding like a fucking idiot. If there's a good thing, or if there's another good thing that we can point at in all this, it's seeing the European Union so far come together on supporting Ukraine. I mean, at least, like, the more powerful or influential countries, Western Europe, for sure. And it's disgusting. It's like, I don't think that as Americans we are like the leaders of the free world. I mean, if we are, it shouldn't be something that like we aspire to, in a sense, to be always trying to be the, we should just always be being the best example we can be, right? And I like the idea much better of an alliance than any of our, what might be, because, at the end of the day, we don't necessarily know how maybe some citizens of other countries feel, because it's easy to see how they can look at us and go, what the fuck is wrong with the Americans? Seriously. Every country has its issues and does its dumb shit, but it's sad. At a minimum, it's sad. Jim says, the answer, TV. You have people in Mississippi, if you need a reminder, spend a week in Arkansas. Aviator says, put it simply, in my honest opinion, Trump is delivering the masses the modern day Roman Colosseum. Yeah. All the pain and wrath minus the tigers and buff gladiators. I said that the other day, Air Bear. Bread and circus without the bread. Or really expensive bread. Yeah. I wish I knew what to do, because it's like doing shit like this it really is like all of a sudden, holy shit, it's before you could fucking come on, and if you're a little streamer like me or whatever and do your own little opinion piece on the events of the day, and it's just so much steaming piles of shit from Trump. Not that nobody gives a fuck. It's like, what? Everybody knows he's out of control. He's off the rails. Unhinged. Casper says Ukraine isn't the first. Before that, Russia took over territory in Georgia. Right. There's Russian speakers in Transnistria or Moldova. I just watched a documentary on that place. On Transnistria. God, what was the thing that they were saying about it? Like, I can't remember. That's funny, Casper, that you mentioned that. There's Russian speakers in Transnistria, Moldova, asking for a Russian presence. That's why Europe is pretty united. Yeah, well, what's the other country, too, that, other Eastern European country that Russia could likely go back into? I don't know if it's Czechoslovakia or not. And Romania is obviously going through stuff. My buddy Crazy Bulgarian was streaming from Sofia, Bulgaria yesterday. It was a small protest, but there's been some big ones there. I mean, what it must be like, those places are on the fringe, or like on the bubble, it's got to be tough. So much corruption. Jim says exactly. It's showbiz with political undertones, like The Apprentice. Showbiz with biz undertones, right? All right. You guys have wasted another perfectly good 96 minutes. I appreciate you. I'd have probably went on and on. I couldn't read chat for the first hour, or didn't have it up on my screen because I was deep in what the fuck, just dumbfounded, right? Mrs. V, appreciate you keeping me occupied and giving me a place to vent. Like I said, even if that watching said 0, I'd probably still be here running my flap. It sucks. These are tough ones. It's easy. Honestly, right? Like, could have just fucking went on. I have 40 minutes recording. We went through 25 minutes or 18 minutes or something. And it took me an hour. It's easy to sit there and slap that crap down. But it's not, I don't know, it's not doing any good. But, and I know a lot of you folks can't stand it, and I can't. I just, if I'm going to waste time, I guess, or spend time trying to debate complete maniac Trump supporters in a chat somewheres, I suppose this wasn't much more of a waste of time, but you guys can count on seeing me soon, whether you like it or not. You don't have to click the link when you get a notification, I suppose, if you don't want to, but I know it'll be hard not to, right? Me and my fucking warm, inviting personality. Jim says Belarusia, the Baltics, Poland, take your pick. Yeah, well, yeah, we could go on about that shit, because for a while, I've definitely, for whatever reason, have, followed along with Belarus for quite some time, probably before, I don't know, had to be, I guess, 2018, 2017 maybe. Yeah, that shit's all crazy. But to your point, Jim, yeah, a lot of folks analysts believe that Poland could be the next target for Russia. But boy, that would be, I mean, that would be a world of difference than attacking Ukraine, not only from the point that Poland is a NATO member, but that they are far more prepared to go to battle than Ukraine was, like far more prepared. Like their special forces are some of the best in the world. All right, Casper, be good. Yeah, I'm out too. You guys be good. Peace and love. TV2 out.